Okay, so this video is actually going to start off a little bit different than what you're used to. In fact, today we actually have to make a special delivery, and it has to do with this box right here. For those of you guys who've been watching the past couple of weeks, you guys know that I actually hosted a fall lawn care giveaway for a couple of days here on the channel, and I was giving away 4 items. More specifically, one of them being this spreader right here, and it just so happens that the winner actually happens to live right down the street from me. So I figured, why not have it shipped to my house, and I'll deliver it to him personally. That's his lawn right there. Wow. Renovation, look at that. That's him. What's going on?
Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you too. So this guy right here, this is Matt McGurian. He is the winner of the Spiker Spreader, and yeah, we're just here to drop it off today.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. Silverback, huh?
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome, man. Cool. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
No problem.
Good luck tonight, man.
Oh yeah, by the way, I got one more thing. Do you have those Orbit sprinklers? Thank you. I have a couple Orbit sprinklers you could have going to be installing. Oh, really? Alright, so we're leaving the house now. We just met up with Matt, gave him the spreader, and I think that went pretty well, right? Mm-hmm. Very well. He even knew who the Silverback was.
That's funny.
But anyway, and all kidding aside, Matt, thank you for participating. Congratulations. Glad I got to meet you, brother. Okay, so before we get into the bread and butter here, I want to go ahead and give you guys a brief update on what I've been dealing with here. Now, as you guys remember from the last video, this is going to tie into some similarities between this video and that one. So if you've already heard this, forgive me, but at the same time, I recommend you listen anyway because the situations and everything I'm doing is going to be a little bit different. First off, I want to show you guys what my lawn has been looking like throughout the summer, and in addition to that, I also want to show you how I prepped it for my overseeding. So the first thing I want you guys to realize is that my lawn has been irrigated all summer, and I've been doing that using the JTLK irrigation system, which, by the way, if you want to learn a little bit more about that, I will leave it here in the eye in the top right corner, as well as linked in the description below. I've been watering the lawn regularly with that system 3 times a week, ½ inch each time, and because of that, my lawn has really been looking good. In addition to that, I've also put down the N-Ext biostimulant pack on the lawn. I did that 2 weeks prior to the seeding date, and I gotta say, within a week's time, the lawn started looking really good. And the third thing I've done is a week prior to seeding, I've actually managed to take my height of cut on my lawn from 3½ inches all the way down to 2 inches. And the reasons I did that was to improve seed to soil contact and to compensate for the fact that I wasn't going to be mowing for 2 to 3 weeks to avoid high traffic on the seed. Let me go ahead and address the end goal here. So again, like the last video, my goal here isn't necessarily to thicken up my lawn, because as you can see, my lawn is probably one of the thickest in my neighborhood, so there's really no need to worry about that. But the sole reason I'm doing this is, again, I want to introduce some new cultivars into my lawn, and I also want to get those to the best of their ability so that they can better withstand common environmental issues I deal with, like fungus, drought, foot traffic, all sorts of things, right? So I want to introduce some new cultivars in there. One more thing I'm going to do before I go ahead and do my overseeding here again is I'm going to go ahead and mow my lawn one more time. As you guys heard earlier, I gradually took my height of cut on my lawn down from 3½ to 2. So all I'm going to do this time is I'm going to do one more cut at 2 inches to make sure that the lawn is as low as I can get it before I don't cut it for 2½ 3 weeks, as it will be somewhat grown by then. hopping into the applications, our first application is going to be our grass seed. I'm actually going to be breaking a couple of the rules that I talked about in my last video about overseeding. Now, to be more specific with that, the grass seed I'm going to be using here is actually going to be a seasoned blend, which means it's actually been sitting for quite some time in my garage, and it's also been a while since it's actually been tested. So the seed I'm going to be using is a custom blend that I got from Seed Superstore, which consists of mostly Kentucky bluegrass and a little bit of fescue and rye in there. So it's a pretty good all-around grass seed for sun and shade areas. It has high germination rates. All the blends in there are about 85 to 90%, so that's good. Unfortunately, I might have lost a good 10 to 20% of that because this seed has sat for a while, as it is a seasoned crop. It was tested January of 2018, and the last time I used it was September of 2018 on the project lawn I did with Alan. While this is a good seed, I think one problem that it does have, and it can be a little bit risky, is the fact that it does contain 0.12% other crop seed. Now, I know this is a little risky on my part, right? But what I want you guys to realize is that if something does go wrong and I introduce some sort of crop into my lawn, here's how I look at it. It's more content that I get to make for you guys. 0.12% crop in there. It's a little risky, but I'm not all that worried about it because, like I said, more content from my end to come on that. And as far as application rates go for this seed, it varies depending on the situation. More specifically for my situation, overseeding a thick pre-existing lawn, Seed Superstore recommends about 4 to 5 pounds per 1,000 square feet, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Our second and last task of the day is going to be to get down our fertility products. Now in this case, I'm going to be utilizing products from the Greene County N-Ext Starter Pack. This package consists of RGS 901 Green Start, 1801 Green Punch, and new Green Pop 1621-2. So one thing I want you guys to realize is that we do have a lot of fertility products, and that they're not all applied in the same day. In fact, they're all going to get applied over a period of time. So a good example of that would be our first application that we're going to be talking about today, which is going to be on the day of your seeding, and that's going to be RGS and an application of Green Pop 1621-2 to act as our NPK source that I've talked about earlier. As far as application rates go for today's application, all we have to do is apply RGS at 3 ounces per 1,000, and on top of that, Green Pop at 12 ounces per 1,000, which will give us 0.17 pound of nitrogen. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but less is more when it comes to the next product. To ensure that you get the most out of those lower rates, what Greene County does is they juice their products with all sorts of goodies and chelators like humic acid to make sure that those nutrients are more readily available to the plant at those lower rates, thus making this application really effective. As far as aftercare goes, I recommend that you at least start watering 10 to 15 minutes after you apply the liquid products to get them into the soil and doing their job. From there, you also want to keep the watering going every day, 3 times a day, 20 minutes each time. Now, as far as the cycle to follow, like I talked about in the previous video, 6, 12, 3, 6 a.m., noon, 3 p.m. Those are the 3 times a day that you should water, and if you do that, that's going to be enough to keep the ground wet throughout the day. How many days are we going to water here? That really depends on the type of grass seed you're seeding with. Now in my case, I'm seeding with mostly a bluegrass blend with a little rye and fescue in there. The rye and the fescue will come up in around 5 to 7 days, but the bluegrass, on the other hand, won't come up until day 21. So because of that, I'm going to want to water this lawn every day, 3 times a day, for the next 5 to 6 weeks. And on top of that, as far as mowing goes, I do not want you guys to mow the lawn for at least 2 weeks after seeding day, as we want to give that seed time to germinate and establish a little bit before we start walking and interfering with it. Now, because you can mow at the 2-week point, that doesn't mean you could start walking on it regularly. We still need to give the seed a couple of more weeks until it is fully done maturing and establishing, and then once that's done, you will be good to start walking on the lawn. So that's all I have for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I will show you how to get the deepest, darkest, greenest, thickest lawn on the block. I'm Jake the Lawn Kid. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. If I don't see you guys next time, your lawn is going to be dominated. See you later.